We are living in a time where anxiety feels like the background noise of everyday life. Notifications never stop, headlines rarely bring peace, opinions are loud, constant, and often fearful. Even in quiet moments, many carry an inner restlessness, a sense that something isn't right, that something could go wrong at any moment. Anxiety has become so normalized that peace almost feels unfamiliar. The assurance that we have is offered in the Holy Scriptures. The different rhythm we're drawn to is the one that cuts through the noise and anchors us in something unshakable. The book of Psalms is filled with honest expressions of fear, uncertainty, and distress. I'm so glad that we get to read the raw emotions of David and the other psalmists in the book of Psalms. Yet woven through those raw emotions is a steady thread of hope. The psalmists didn't deny anxiety, they redirected it. Again and again, they turned their focus back to God's character. This is what we must do as well. Psalms 46:1 says, God is our refuge and strength and an ever-present help in trouble. Notice what this doesn't say. It doesn't say trouble won't come. It doesn't promise a life free from stress or uncertainty. Instead, it gives us something deeper. It reveals that God's character is constant, and that means that He's always available. God is not distant in our anxiety, my friends. He is very present. When fear rises, the Psalms remind us where to run. Psalm 91, which happens to be one of my favorites, paints a powerful picture of God's protection. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. In a culture that teaches us to rely on control, productivity, or self-sufficiency, this kind of rest feels foreign. Yet, it is exactly what our souls are craving. Not more control, but deeper trust and acceptance of who God is in our lives. Anxiety often grows when we try to carry what was never ours to hold. Psalms 23 gently reorients us. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. Now, a shepherd leads, protects, and provides. Sheep are not responsible for mapping out their own safety. We are simply called to follow. This imagery is both humbling and freeing. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to predict every outcome, for we are led and we are never alone. One of the most comforting truths found in the book of Psalms is God's attentiveness to our inner world. Psalm 34:4 says, I sought the Lord, and He answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Now, let that sink down deep into your soul, my friends. It's not just the external threats that seemingly overwhelm us, but our very own fears, the quiet, unspoken ones, the ones we carry into the night. The good news is that God meets us there, right where we are. No judgment, no I told you so, or condemnation. In those moments when I feel overwhelmed by the things of the world or my own thoughts swirling around in my mind that refuse to settle, I hear God say, I am here, daughter. I will never leave you or forsake you. In a culture that feeds anxiety through comparison, urgency, and fear-driven narratives, choosing hope is an act of faith. It means pausing, Selah, and remembering what is true even when everything around us feels uncertain. We can rest assured, my friends, that God is faithful, God is near, and God is our peace. This doesn't mean anxiety disappears overnight, but it does mean it no longer has the final word. God has and always will have the final word. The Psalms teach us that peace is not found in the absence of trouble, but in the presence of God. And that presence is available to us right now, even in the middle of all the noise, the questions, and the fear. So when anxiety rises, let it become an invitation rather than a defeat. An invitation to return, to rest, to trust, to remember that even here, especially here, God is holding you. Selah.